again.
You lose somebody?
No. Welcome, everyone. You are tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey. And
Hello, everybody.
Hello. And Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show that we air every Tuesday from 7 to 8 Pacific time. And we actually broadcast on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation. But we pre-record the show on our Facebook group, which is called the Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group. And
where you are right now.
Yes, and on my YouTube channel. So that's 3 ways that you can listen to the show, but it's also on all the major podcasting platforms, and on drlesliephillips.com we have all the back episodes. So like I mentioned, Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. So every week we have a different topic under that umbrella. We love to talk about things like psychic abilities, energy healing, you name it. And tonight's episode is about manifestation. Corey has entitled the show Energy Tools That Help You Manifest Your Desires.
Well, that was a question that was brought up by Katie in the last show. I think it was the last show, or just on an email to me. So
that's right. I remember that. And Katie, actually, she's just joined my Unlock Your Intuition course. And so she will be learning lots of energy tools to help her manifest her desires. Okay, so let's talk about manifestation then. And
sounds good.
We have done shows on manifestation before. And so this one, the thing that's a bit different about it is the idea of energy tools that can help you manifest. So what do we mean by that? So maybe we should just introduce the principle of manifesting. Every single one of you creates your reality. You create your reality by the energy that you are. So whatever energy signal is being broadcast from your energy field, then the universe will mirror back at you whatever it is, whatever signal or signals that you are putting out. That's called the law of attraction. It's also called the law of karma. Like attracts like. And yeah.
I didn't realize that you could actually call that the law of karma if you're looking at good things coming to you.
Yeah, why not?
Got a mosquito bite.
Principle. It's the exact same principle. It basically says what you put out is what you get back.
Oh no, I have to re-examine all my beliefs now.
Well, we tend to think when you use the word karma, oh, you've done an evil, wicked thing that will come back and haunt you in a future.
Exactly.
But it's really the exact same principle as the law of attraction, which is, whoever I am being is what I get reflected back at me. So then how do you take charge of that so that you're consciously deciding what signals that you're broadcasting to the universe? Because most of us are just going about our lives in a mostly unconscious or semi-conscious way. I don't mean that we've all drank 10 beers and we're unconscious on the floor, but most of us are not really awake and aware within our bodies and within our energy systems. And so how do we do that? And so the first thing is grounding, which I talk a lot about on this show. Grounding actually is an energy tool that helps you manifest your desires. How so? Because when you ground, you bring your focus, you, the high vibration spiritual being, your focus starts to come into the body. So think of your body like, like a little signaling device, right? This is the point of power. This is the point of attraction. This is the this is the manifesting device, right? You've got your body, you've got your energy field. It's the manifesting device. So you need to be here in that body in order to manifest something in physical reality, because your body is in physical reality. You, the spiritual consciousness, you are way beyond physical reality, right? You're outside of time and space, and you're eternal. And so, but you need to focus at the portion of your consciousness that's meant to be in this body, in that focal point, which is a focal point for manifesting, actually, and for manifesting in physical reality. So most people are not even doing that. They're not grounded. And so, maybe they're operating sort of unconsciously from their ego. Maybe they're accumulating all sorts of problems and energies from challenges that cropped up in life. And that is, it's not helping in manifesting, I mean, take somebody who says, why can I not manifest abundance? Here I am, I'm always poor. I can never get a job that pays me more than $20 an hour. I'm always being laid off, and if that is those thoughts that they're thinking is energy, and that energy is being, is part of the signal. If that person is feeling depressed or angry or frustrated or afraid for their survival, well, that is part of the signal that's being broadcast. And because of like attracts like, if that's the signal you're broadcasting, then you're going to get more of that back. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, wow, look at that again. I got fired again. That just proves it. That just proves that, it sucks, and on and on and on and on and on. So we can go on like that unconsciously for our whole lives, or we can take charge of our energy using energy tools. And grounding is the number one, because if you ground, it will bring your consciousness into this focal point called your body, so that you can wake up and be more conscious about what you're doing, how you're thinking, and all of that. But it also gives you a way of releasing energy. So with that one technique, grounding, you can release all of those negative vibes. You can let go of the pain of your childhood, the trauma that you experienced as a teenager, the programming about money that you receive from your parents that tells you have to work really hard and people like us only get so much, for example. Grounding helps you take charge of your energy, helps you let go of everything that's working against you, which then clears up space for more of you, the spiritual being, to come into the body and start to take the reins and take charge of your reality. So grounding, and there's a grounding meditation on my website available for free, is number one energy tool that helps you to manifest your desires. If you're not grounded, how can you possibly manifest your desires? You're not even bothering to be with the the physical system, which is the point at which you're wanting to attract things to. So grounding is number one energy tool. Number two energy tool, actually also available for free on my website, is centering. Okay. And how does centering help you to manifest your desires? Well, it's an energy tool that helps you to be neutral and helps you to see yourself clearly and see your life clearly. If you can see yourself and your life clearly, you can start to see, what have I created that I don't prefer? What's going on in my energy system that's blocking things? And what is it that I do prefer? And in having that knowledge of self, of what you want and what you don't want, then you can start to consciously shift things around. But as you discover the things that you don't want, you can use your grounding to release and let them go, and so on. So those would be my top two energy tools to use to consciously manifest your desires. And there are many, many more. And I teach them all in my courses. I teach them in my Unlock Your Intuition course.
And every week on the
Pardon?
show. And every week on the show.
And on the show. But I have a really good manifesting course, and one of the things that we do in that course is the students keep an emotional diary. So 3 times a day, they check in and say, what's my main emotion now? And for the last little bit of time that's just passed, what emotions came up? And over time, they get to see, am I mainly operating in the higher vibration emotions or the lower vibration emotions? Am I more often in a state of love, appreciation, gratitude, joy, happiness, and all those higher vibe emotions? Or am I more often in anger, frustration, guilt, sadness, fear, depression, and lower vibration emotions? And where's the balance? Am I more on the positive or more on the negative? And that can be a very enlightening, because most of us don't really examine it in that way, but it gives you an idea of what are you putting out, and how are you managing your vibration? Are you managing your vibration up or not? And we do the same thing with thoughts. Keep a diary of your thoughts. Check in 3 times a day. What are you thinking? What thoughts have been going around in your head? And quite often there are these patterns of thoughts that really aren't doing us any good. But like I said at the beginning of the show, that's energy that you are broadcasting. So we want to start to hold the reins. We want to start to steer the ship and to manage our vibration. Okay. So that's why so many of the meditation practices, want to bring you into a state of stillness, want to bring you into a place where that monkey mind has been tamed. Because then you can start to consciously drop content in of things that you want, rather than this whirlwind of things going round and round that are not necessarily things that you want.
It's interesting when you think about people, and and they talk about, oh, I'm bad luck, I never get anything, everything goes wrong for me. And you know what? They're right. It does go wrong. And so when you try to talk to them about manifesting the positive, most of these people go, no, that doesn't work for me. But it is working for you. You
It's
are
already working for you.
Yeah.
It's working for you on that negative side of the scales. Exactly. We are all creating our reality all the time, and we're either doing it consciously or unconsciously. Most of us are doing it unconsciously.
I think doing vision boards is such a wonderful way to see that, to see how your manifestation and your intentions come into reality, because you put it on a piece of paper or you put it on a board of some sort and you put it somewhere and you see it, and you don't have to focus on it, you just have to see it, and you put it out there into the universe, and in a year or however long you want to go back and look at it again, you go, oh, look, that happened, that happened, that happened, that happened. It's amazing.
The vision board is a great, we could even call that an energy tool, couldn't we? And I think one of the things that happens when you're creating a vision board is it does help you get a bit more into those positive vibes, doesn't it? Because you're thinking of all the things that you want, and you're in it brings you into the moment, and you're enjoying putting all of those ideas together. Yeah, so that's a good one, Corey, to do a vision board.
It really does work. It really does. Setting those intentions and putting it in a concrete form. I mean, the law of attraction works with thought and emotion, and it does work. However, when you can put it into a creative, concrete form, it's even stronger. That energy is more profound.
Well, you're starting to make it physical. You're starting to put an imprint of those things in the physical.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
and that's, well, but mind you, you can manifest both physical and non-physical things. So you could manifest a car, a house, but you could also manifest more love, community, feeling more joyful more often, for example. And, you know, so those feelings are important when it comes to manifesting. And actually, sometimes I meet a lot of women actually that get fixated on, a specific relationship. And, and maybe it's not going right, but they're trying to force it to fit into to what they want, rather than acknowledging maybe this isn't what I want. And so, or they want to manifest a relationship, and they've got all this programming that says, oh, well, at my age, I'm more likely to get hit by a bus, or whatever it is. And so I just want to finish this thought, and then we'll go to our break. And so actually I've lost the thought, because Corey told me we're going for a break. So we're going to go for a break, everybody. And then when we come back, hopefully the point that I was making might come back to me.
Yeah. I just manifested a break. It was great.
It's like this. It was going like this when I was trying to talk. So. Welcome back, listeners. You're tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey, and we're talking about manifestation. And we were talking about emotions and feelings and thoughts and how they impact the ability to manifest. I was talking about the example of wanting to manifest a relationship. And so a few of the things that we have to deal with there is, what mental messaging are you telling yourself? Because if you're telling yourself, I'm too old, or I'm too fat, or, it's really, really hard, then that is what you're going to create. Or if you have a set idea about this one or that one, then that is limiting the possibilities. So might rather to be moving yourself into the vibration of how you'd like to feel, loved, cherished, amused, having fun, and just thinking of all the qualities that you're hoping that having a relationship will bring into your life, and then cultivate those qualities within your own energy field now, because that's what then attracts the relationship that you're asking for. So it's like that chicken and egg thing. You kind of have to become what it is that you're wanting in order to have that reflected back at you.
Yeah, my friend Sherry Hubert, who's an author down in California, has a book out on that. She says, be the one you want to find.
Right. All right. So I know we've got lots of listeners today. Do we have any questions about manifesting?
Yes. We
How,
do, and I'm sure there's a lot more coming as well. Carrie had a comment. He said, "Ask for, Carrie. I presume it's a he, could be a she. I'm sorry, Carrie, if you are. Affirmations are powerful." So he's talking about they're talking about another energy source, which is affirmations being quite powerful.
I think they can be, and which a bit like a mantra in a way, isn't it? Something, but you have to believe it. You have to believe what you're saying, right? So you could be saying, "I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful," but not believe it. So so the affirmation you have to believe it and feel it while you're saying it.
Yeah, I think you're even better off being neutral than not believing. Like
Yes.
being neutral is okay if you send out the intention and just allow it to go out and let it and release it and let the universe take care of it. Um, that works. You don't have to sit there going, I want this. I want. Like it just send it out. It will come back. And sometimes you're not meant to have it, which is sometimes the answer to your manifestation is no.
Well, I think sometimes there's a difference between what we think we want or what the ego thinks it wants and what we actually need sometimes. Sometimes people don't really know what they need, you know? It
Yeah.
depends on where the ask is coming from. Actually, is the ask coming genuinely from you, from your inner being, or is it coming from your ego?
Yeah, I've heard it's about um, the best for the overall good.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense too.
yeah, it does. Sometimes it makes sense. Wendy says, "I would love to know how to bring others around you into a more positive viewpoint."
You can't change anyone else. You can't force somebody else to change. So the trick is to learn that you are only responsible for yourself and your energy, and to take control and take charge of your energy and move into a space of neutrality and acceptance about everything else. Okay, so you can't change another person. You're not responsible for another person. And the best way really is to be the example of someone living, living in accordance, the way that you're wishing they would be. For example, well, are you walking the walk, and are you walking the walk? So to exemplify, to be an example of someone, but with no expectation of anything apart from I'm doing this because this is my choice and my preference. But just allow others to be where they're at, because you can't force them to change.
It's one of the hardest things to accept is when you see people around you who are vehemently against or oppose what you believe. And I mean, that doesn't matter what you believe in, whether it's, manifestation or your spiritual beliefs, or whether you believe chocolate is better than strawberry ice cream. Like it doesn't really matter. People just have a tendency to take it very personally when people don't believe what they believe. And
Right. And there's not one truth. There's actually not one truth. Um, each individual is unique. And if you think about the oneness or God, whatever word you wanted to, and how we're all just projections of that oneness, but no single one of us is all of that. We're these little individual sparks, and each one has a unique perspective that's different than every other one. And so that's the glory of creation, really, is that variety, is that difference, are those unique perspectives. So, being able to cultivate acceptance of others as they are, I think it's an important step in spiritual involvement.
Very
I mean,
true.
that's where one of the places we go wrong on this planet, isn't it? My God is the righteous God and your God is Satan. I don't know. My political party is, there's so much of that, merging and belonging to a group and then being the righteous group, when actually, number one, we're all different anyway. And number two, because we're all different, then there's variety here. And so to accept and revel in that variety as opposed to expect sameness and conformity. Anyway, what else do we have? What other questions about manifestation do we have?
The jury was saying, so true, all roads lead back to grounding and getting back into your body and authentic, unique energy.
Thank you, Najiri. I concur.
So do I. So actually, let me put a question to you. So if I'm in a dire straits, so let's say I'm broke or something like that, and rent's coming up, and I need my rent money. It's very hard for me to be in a positive state of mind. How do I manifest something in in a situation like that when my circumstance is
Well,
bringing me down?
the answer is the same that we've been saying. You have to change your reality. You have to change yourself. And one of the problems as well is that people often have an issue with is being able to hold themselves in that vibration long enough. As spirit, we create instantly. But to bring it into physical manifestation, there's time and space. So people will get themselves into, the right zone in the vortex. And then it's not shown up yet. It's not shown up yet. What's wrong? I'm doing it wrong, sort of thing. And then they get themselves out of the zone. And then that will, in a way, how quickly something manifests is proportional to how much you're doubting yourself or how much you're believing in yourself. So, how can somebody who doesn't believe in themselves and is repeating negative programming come up with funds to pay the rent that they need instantly? The answer is they can't unless they change themselves, unless they change their energy. And so if that does happen, then they've changed their energy. And there are lots and lots of techniques that can help people learn how to do that.
Mm-hmm. I've actually seen that happen with rent. I had a friend of mine, and she was sharing a place with two other girls, or women, I should say, and she was short the rent. I mean, it was 2 weeks before rent, and she just didn't have it. She wasn't working. There was no money coming in. She didn't have anybody she could ask for the money, and so we actually sat together for a couple of days and did some energy work around it and did some manifestation intention setting and work around it. And believe it or not, by the day the rent was due, she received the whole amount of her rent.
So she changed her energy.
She changed her energy. And what it was, like somebody called up that she hadn't heard from for so long. And the person said, I had a feeling I had to call you. There was something wrong. Are you going through something bad? And what my friend did was, instead of going, no, it's okay, nothing's wrong, instead of being shy or self-conscious, but she said, yeah, I've been putting out, I'm having a real tough month. I didn't get any work this month. and I'm short rent. So how much is your rent? She said, $900. She said, no problem, I'll cover it. Just boom, just like amazing. You know, like it's just astounding how these things happen. It's beautiful. It's a lovely thing. Okay, so by the way, I put the meditations links on the website for anybody who wanted to know that. They're starting to come in hard and heavy here. Wendy says, what do you do if your partner is super negative, but you aren't?
Okay. Let me look at an answer to that. What do you do if your partner is super negative, but you aren't? Well, it's all, so that's your spiritual practice, isn't it? To maintain your vibration regardless of what your partner is doing with their vibration. You know, and in those situations, I'm sure it's like you're like, and then, you know, maybe your partner says something or does something, and it's so, you know, bring you down into that. And then the spiritual practice is to bring yourself back into your vibration, regardless of what somebody else does. So it's not necessarily easy, but if you can't change that, the only one that you can change, the only one who, you know, whose energy you can manage is your own. So you just have to let them be, accept that that's how they are, not need them to be different, not expect them to change, and then just focus on yourself and your own energy.
I think the key there is you're creating your reality, underlying and in capitals your YOUR, your reality. If I'm not mistaken.
Well, you can't create anyone else's reality.
Well, that's what I meant.
People try, but you can't.
You can help people along, but you can't do it for them because it doesn't count. But yet, when you think about it, many people pray for other people, which is a very good practice. It's not wrong. It's not that you shouldn't do that.
You can offer energy to assist somebody, can't you? You know, whether it's a healer or, I don't know, a group offering neutral energy to energize somebody's manifestation. So you can offer energy to assist somebody, but ultimately it's up to that person what they do with that energy.
Exactly. And Wendy just said it's kind of tedious though. Yeah, it is tedious.
Well, you know, and at some point you have to say, is this a vibrational match for me? You know.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Letitia says, can you manifest your intuition or psychic abilities?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
you
it.
could.
Next question. No.
So Letitia's done my Unlock Your Intuition course, and in module 8 of that course, there is a manifestation technique, the pink balloon technique. So you know that, Letitia. And so what you would do is you would use that technique, but what you would be using it to manifest is strengthening your psychic abilities, you know, increasing your psychic abilities. Absolutely. So that's what you're wanting, that's what you're asking for, and you're putting that out there. And then who knows what circumstances are going to show up in your life that will help you to get from, you know, A to B, that growth in your psychic abilities. So yes, that's the short answer, is yes. And I just told you a way that you can do it.
Yes, you did. So we've got 2 more minutes. We can do one more question, or let me do this instead. Just to comment on what Wendy just made a comment. She said, "So is that like accepting bad behaviors, though?"
That's not the same as accepting bad behavior. Okay, so, and it depends on what your definition of bad behavior is, but if this person's being abusive, then, so here's the thing. I accept that you're doing that, and that behavior is, you know, abusive, but, you know, and then it's your choice. If you don't prefer to be exposed to that, then it's your choice to move away from that. Or your choice to stay and lock horns and explain, you know, your perspective on it. But if that person doesn't share your perspective, and if that person doesn't want to change, then you have a choice to make. Stay with the person who has a behavior that you're not enjoying, or choose something else that you prefer.
I guess it's time for a break.
We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, listeners. You're tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey.
Hello again.
Tonight's show is about energy tools to manifest your desires.
Yes, it is.
To answer questions.
Yes, we are. Next one's from Shannon. Shannon says, hi, lovely Leslie and Mr. Corey. I'm being called Mr. Corey now. I like that. Does it work better to write intentions or manifestations with the new moon?
That's a really good question. And there are some spiritual practices that do that, because the idea is, you know, with the new moon, you're birthing something new. So I would say manifestation can work anytime, any place, anywhere, if you are in charge of your energy. But that there is this thing that says that you can work with the moon and the energy of the moon. So I wouldn't say that's, I think that that is something that people do and it works for them, but I don't think if you don't do that, that you can't manifest something.
I would add, if that's what you believe, that's what will happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
And our friend Najiri has she has a 3-part
Oh, I have to take notes. Okay.
Yes and no. She said, I had a breakthrough that revealed the root of my inner child wound. At 2 years old, I witnessed grandparents' dog Theo get shot as he went mad and attacked pigs in the pig pen. It was a bloodbath. I've been afraid of dogs ever since, but an intuitive person named Theo last week on Clubhouse suggested that the trauma of killing of my dog was equivalent to seeing the killing of my friend. In my 2-year-old mind, that is. This has manifested as unprocessed grief as I witnessed the tragic death of my friend. Could I heal this on my own, or this is a trauma too great and therapy is needed?
Okay. Well, you know, of course you can heal it on your own. And you have a lot of resources and a lot of knowledge and a lot of information, and you know a lot of the energy techniques that I teach, Najiri. And so, you absolutely can de-energize and release and let go of the grief from the stored memories of that incident. If you prefer to work with someone else, then you can choose to work with somebody as well. But absolutely none of us creates anything that we're not fully capable of transcending. So we have everything within us to deal with whatever we encounter on our journey. That's not to say that we have to then cope alone. We can choose to ask people to assist us and have that as you know, a permission slip to help us get through things. So I would say absolutely you're capable of transcending that, of healing that. And it's up to you how you want to choose to do that, whether you'd like to do it on your own or with somebody else helping you. You said it was a 3-part question, Corey.
Well, that was all 3 parts.
Oh, okay.
Katie said that she put a Katie, I didn't see the comment in the listing, so if you could put it back through again, that would be great. This one's from Shannon. This is Shannon. Shannon says, Dr. Leslie, I actually have been trying to manifest long natural hair. I find myself picking my split ends though, which is contrary to my long hair. Why do I self-sabotage, and how can I let this go down the grounding cord? Do I visualize darkness and say something like I release this habit?
You could release that habit, and you could also look at what's the cause, or the core picture underneath, or the core belief underneath that habit. So let's see if we can pick something up. So I wonder if that was something that you did as a kid, chew the end of your hair, or it looks like, you can tell me whether this resonates, but I wonder if this was something that you did as a child, especially when you were forced to do something that didn't interest you, or that was boring to you, or that was, you just didn't want to be there. It's almost like the idea of being in a boring history lesson. I know when you said picking your split ends, I mean, I'm not necessarily that you're chewing them now, but yeah, it looks like it's a habit that relates to either having to do things that you don't want to do, or when your body is antsy and doesn't want to. It's sort of like, oh, you've got to sit here for an hour and watch this boring lecturer drone on or something. It's like, we'll keep my body occupied because I can't just get up and walk out. So it feels like that's what it's relating to. And so looking at when and how you force yourself to do things that don't really resonate with you could be something that you could do as well. But yeah, or you could just, without knowing, release the habit and whatever the causation of the habit down your grounding. So that would be my suggestions.
There's also, I'd like to add one more thing to that, is that one of the biggest problems with setting intention and then manifestations that I've found in my experience with people, even with myself, is people want something. So they set an intention, and then they wait for this manifestation to happen, and it doesn't happen. But what they haven't seen is all these things coming by them that would have helped them with that intention, but it isn't exactly what they were looking for. Like somebody says, I want a new car. I want it to be blue with, black leather interior seats with a gold trim this and an eye of this and of this. Yeah, and I want it, and I want it for $100. It has to be a really wonderful shape, right? And somebody comes up to them the next day and says, "Listen, I have a car for sale. It's green and it has just vinyl interior. It's $150, but it's really in good shape." And you go, "Oh no, that's not what I'm looking for." And this happens a lot of times, and sometimes it happens with us on a physical. I'm looking for something to help me with this physical issue, and nothing's coming, but yet people are there trying to give you a hand, trying to help you, trying to recommend things, trying to do things for you. It's also, you have to be aware when that intention is being released to you and the manifestation is coming on board. So be careful and watch where because things could be happening for you with regards. Some people can be maybe trying to help you with your hair. Maybe you've seen a commercial. Maybe you've seen an ad on I hate to say this, but on Facebook or something that will actually work. Like it's just, and I mean, again, it's your choice. So this is a comment from Wendy. Wendy says, I'm doing some things to better myself physically, and I'm curious, will this help me be would help me spiritually or mentally. Okay, let me start over again. I'm doing some things to better myself physically, and I'm curious, will this help me spiritually or mentally? I've been isolated for a while, and I'm hoping this brings me out. What do you think?
Well, I think it definitely could help you spiritually and mentally. Um, I think if you're going a bit stir crazy mentally, some physical exercise can help, um, calm the body down, give an outlet for that energy that's pent up and built up. Um, and can it also help spiritually? I think so, because then those aspects of the body that are getting in the way and interfering with the spirit body connection, if you exercise your body and it's feeling you know pleasantly fatigued, relaxed because of the exercise, then it's easier for it can be easier for that spiritual communication, because now the body is not getting in your way. So I think, yes, it all can, interrelate and help each other.
Definitely. Yeah, which I'm just in my office. And I can hear. I've got the window open. I hear the coyotes going crazy. It's howling away. This is from Curious Soul. Curious Soul says, a good software programmer is able to code and retrieve the program she makes in an organized way in order to manifest the program she wants.
Yeah, we're a little bit like that. We are, when we're born, we're a little bit like the computer that nobody's put any software on yet. And then the parents come along and say, let me teach you, young one, about this reality and how it works. Here's my beliefs about it. And so we start getting this software. And then we operate from that programming. And we might do that for our whole lives, unless one day we question, well, hang on a minute. Is this belief system really working for me? Oh, look at that. It came from my dad. Maybe I should disassemble that and reprogram myself with some different beliefs. So it's a good analogy, Curious Soul. Thank you.
That's interesting when you think about it. I've been thinking about this. Just had my birthday, and every birthday you get 1 year older. So sometimes you have a tendency to sit around and think a little bit and ponder. And so many people, as they get older, they become much more wiser, as they say. And it's very interesting when you look at that in this situation. I think as you get older, you also manifest easier in one sense, and things and information comes to you faster and simpler, and it gives you the ability also to give information, to give help out to people. It's a calming effect. It's the process of aging, and it can become positive. Now, the other side of that coin is some people, as they get older, they start going inside of themselves and they start becoming, for the lack of a better term, a little more decrepit, and oh, everything bad's happening to me. I'm getting so sick and so bad. Whereas it doesn't have to be that way. Even if you do get sick, you don't have to feel it. I mean, we have a wonderful example of that in our lives at this present time. But it's just, it is what it is, and you make it what it is to a point. But don't forget, you still have created your life before you came. You rewrote the script for your life play. Now that doesn't mean you can't ad lib. You can, but it takes power to do so. Energetic power, like a laser beam. A laser uses energy and mirrors to focus and creates holograms. You're creating those same holograms, but you need a lot of energy to do it. Yeah, this is from Katie. Katie says, thank you so much for taking my question. Of course, Katie. Was driving, so now I can Oh, I was driving, so now I can type. Yes, please, don't type while you're driving. I'm wondering if there's a way we can change our physical environment in our home, workspace, etc., to improve our energy, such as feng shui.
Yeah. So feng shui is good, but there are also things that you can do energetically to improve the energy of the home as well. So you could actually give your room or your home a grounding cord so that negative energies are filtered out of the room and positive energies are pulled in, for example. Yeah. So that's,
There's a big yes on that, right? Anything that helps energetically will help you. Anything that is a positive. I mean, if you like, having candles and listening to music and things like that. Well, Wendy wants to know if you do one-on-one training or coaching.
I do, yes. I do. I was just thinking about that today because I've got quite a few people that are either doing that or wanting to do that. And so at some point soon, I'll reach my capacity on that. But yes, at the moment I do. But I also do group training as well.
Thank you for that question, Wendy. And here's probably the last question. Let me check my time. Yeah, last question. And it's from Lori. Lori, you're always coming up last. Get in earlier. I was just thinking that to really manifest the life I want, I need to raise my vibration and know that my health issues are getting in the way of that and having a hard time changing my diet. I wonder what is getting in the way of that.
That's a good question, isn't it? Because, health issues, something on a physical level, it's already gone through the emotional signaling that was then ignored, that then is manifested as a physical thing. But let's take a look what's getting in your way of changing your diet. Well, maybe this is a longer answer to actually look at it really thoroughly, but a couple of things came up. One is that is something to do with protection and that I guess like eating and weight gain being related to protection, and that somehow there's an advantage to staying the way you are, or a perceived advantage. And the image that came up was a pair of sumo wrestlers. So a sumo wrestler has an advantage to being the way that they are. We might not think of them as looking particularly healthy, might we, according to our Western standards? But, the advantage is the weight, the heft, and so I think exploring the idea of what is my gain from this, from staying this way? What do I gain from it? Maybe part of it is protection, and maybe there's some other things as well. So that's really what's coming up about that right now, Laurie. I hope that that's helped you.
And Tina asked a question similar to that as well, about why she keeps self-sabotage. It feels like she's self-sabotaging, but you can listen to this again, Tina. There's some more points in there. And Dr. Leslie, I hate to say this, but that's it for the night.
All right. Well, thank you everyone who was listening live. And if you want to put in the chat any suggestions for what you'd like us to talk about in the coming weeks in the show, that would be lovely. Tonight's show was suggested by a listener, and so we're happy
Yeah,
to.
it's so nice when that happens. We enjoyed that.
All right. Bye everyone, and see you next week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock Pacific.
Yep. Take care.